If you're listening, if you're breathing, there is still more. There's a quiet miracle in staying and letting one more morning come, and choosing not to disappear when everything inside feels numb. You may not see the reason yet, may not understand the why, but there's purpose in your presence, even when it passes by. You don't have to prove your worth, you just have to be here. If you're still here, God is not done with you. There's still a story breaking through every tear, every hidden scar. He knows exactly where you are. If you're still here, there is still more than what you've been through before. You are held, you are known, you are seen right here in between. Perfect ending to believe there's something ahead. You don't need to feel completely whole to take one step instead. Sometimes purpose looks like breathing, sometimes hope is just a spark, but can push back the darkest dark. You are not an accident, you are still part of the plan. If you're still here, God is not done with you. You're still here, there's still a story breaking through. You're still here. For now. There are distances I should not have survived, but somehow I'm here. There were roads I walked that felt too long, steps that didn't feel like mine. Every mile held a question I didn't know how to define. I remember the point I almost stopped. Not dramatic, just worn thin, like the will to keep on moving had quietly given in. But something moved beneath my weakness, like a current I couldn't see. And where I thought I would collapse, I found I was still being carried. It wasn't visible, but it was real. You carried me further than I could go alone. Through every place I couldn't stand on my own, Lord. When I had nothing left to give, you were the reason I could live. You carried me through what I couldn't name, through every shadow, every strain, what felt like steps that I made alone. Were your hands all along? I look back at the ground I covered, and I don't recognize my strength. There's no way I could have crossed that distance without something greater in place. You lifted what I couldn't hold. You steadied what I couldn't stand. You didn't just walk beside me, you carried me with your hand. Even when I didn't know it, you never let me fall. You carried me further than I could go alone. Through every place I couldn't stand on my own, Lord. When I had nothing left to give, you were the reason I could live. Carry me still. When I forget, carry me on. Through what is next, carry my fear, carry my doubt, carry the parts I can't figure out. Jesus, my strength. When I am weak, you are the ground beneath my feet. Oh, you carried me further than I could go alone. Now I stand in a strength I've never known. Not from me, but from your grace, that brought me safely to this place. I didn't make it, I was carried. I closed the door thinking it was over. You were opening another one I couldn't see. I packed away the pieces of a life I knew, folded memories like clothes that didn't fit. Tried to make peace with a quiet kind of loss, telling myself this is just what it is. The plans I carried didn't recognize me anymore. Their outlines blurred into something thin, and I stood at the edge of a chapter closing, with no idea how to begin again. Endings have a way of echoing louder than the hope that follows after. started noticing small invitations, conversations that felt like open ground, a peace that didn't ask permission to settle in without a sound. I found a strength in unfamiliar places, a version of me I hadn't met, not louder, not brighter, just steadier, learning to trust what hadn't happened yet. The map I followed wasn't the same, but somehow it felt more true. Like every step I didn't understand was still aligned with you. Maybe beginnings don't announce themselves, maybe they grow where endings fall. What I thought was the end was the beginning. What I called lost, you were winning. Every closed door led me through a path I never would have chose, but you knew. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I won't fear the closing of doors, I won't measure life by before. If you are in what comes next, then I can step without regret. Every loss becomes a seed, every pause a place to breathe. And what I bury in goodbye, you're raising time differently. What I thought was the end was the beginning. Every broken piece had meaning, and now I see what you could see before it ever broke in me. Nothing was wasted, not one page, not one tear, not one tear. I used to say I made it. Now I know I was carried. There were mornings I woke up already tired, like sleep couldn't reach the place I'd been. The mirror held a quieter version of me, eyes that had seen too much to pretend. I learned how to move without feeling whole, how to answer when my name was called. I kept a rhythm that looked like strength, but inside it was barely a pulse at all. There were hours I measured in breaths alone, counting seconds just to stay in the room. No music, no light, no sudden rescue, just choosing not to assume the worst was true. I thought I was surviving by will, but something steadier held me still. I'm still standing, and I know right now, not by my strength, not by my power. Jesus, you held me through it all, every rise and every fall. I'm still standing, and I won't forget the grace that met me where I was left. What I thought was me holding on was you all along. There were days I didn't recognize courage, because it didn't feel brave in my hands. It looked like showing up half-formed and still saying I'll try again. It looked like not quitting conversations that asked more honesty than I had, like sitting in rooms with open endings and letting that be that didn't let go. I thought it would undo me, but it remade me. Silence has a way of showing you when noise was hiding all along, when everything else falls quiet. You meet the place where you belong. I fear the stillness like an ending, like a room I couldn't survive. But it became a kind of teacher that kept something in me alive. The silence didn't break me, it changed me, taught my heart what faith could be. Not loud, not rushed, not easy to see, but steady and deep inside of me. The silence didn't take me down, it stripped the fear, it pulled me out. What I thought would make me fall was shaping me through it all. I learned how to sit with questions without needing them resolved, how to hold an open ending and still believe you're involved. I learned that peace can whisper and still be just as strong, and that a faith that's been tested can carry you further along. So I won't run from quiet places, I won't fear the unknown space. If you are there, then I am safe, even in the slower pace. The silence didn't break me, it made me stronger. What I feared became the ground I stand on. I kept asking where you were, you kept showing me how you were. I searched for you in the obvious places, open doors, sudden signs, clear replies. I measured your nearness by what I could see, by the way the sky did or didn't divide. But the days kept moving in ordinary rhythms, no grand interruption to mark your name. And I almost mistook your quiet consistency for distance or for change. I didn't notice the way you steady my breathing, or how certain thoughts lost their edge. I was looking for rescue to look like rescue, while you were holding me on the ledge. You like it echoed back without a trace. But now I hear it differently, like you were answering in another place. And the friend who reached out at the right hour, in the line of a song that found my chest, in the way I made it to morning when I thought I needed rest from rest. You were an answer, just deeper, not louder, just sure. You were building a language of trust that didn't depend on a cure. What I call nothing was something I couldn't name. You were there in ways I couldn't read. You were there in ways I couldn't read. You were there. Oh, yeah, you were there. Teach me to recognize your fingerprints in the things I almost miss, in the breath that steadies, in the step that exists. Not every answer has a voice. Some are choices I make with you, and every time I chose to stay, you were there, carrying me through. You were there, and now I see it clear. And every step that kept me here, I don't need signs to prove it's true. I lived it, being held by you. You didn't leave, I just learned to look again. It didn't announce itself. It just began. There wasn't a moment I could point to, no clear dividing line, no before that ended suddenly, no after that arrived on time. It was quieter than I expected, like a room that slowly fills with light. You don't see the instant it changes, you just realize it's not night. I still carried pieces of the story, still felt echoes of the past, but something in me moved differently. Like the hurt didn't hold us fast, it wasn't gone, but it wasn't the same. I didn't notice when the healing started, when the weight began to come apart. No sudden shift, no loud decree, just mercy working quietly. But little by little, part by part, you were restoring my heart. I laughed one day without rehearsing it, and the sound felt strange and new, like a window opened in a place I didn't know I'd sealed shut too. I spoke about it without unraveling, remembered without losing ground, and I knew something had been mending even when I wasn't looking around. You didn't wait for my awareness to begin what only you could do. You worked beneath my understanding and carried me gently through. Not everything that felt some things grow underneath. I didn't notice, and the healing started. I didn't notice when the healing started. So I won't rush the rest of it. I won't demand a finish line. If you've begun this quiet work, then I will trust your time. Every breath that comes easier, every thought that doesn't stay is proof that grace is moving in ways I can't explain. I didn't notice when the healing started, but now I see what you have done. The night is not what it once was, and morning has begun. No announcement, just peace arriving. I didn't do it well, but I did it. The alarm went off like any other morning, and I stared at the ceiling a little too long. There was nothing dramatic about the beginning, just a quiet reluctance to move along. I counted reasons like steps to the kitchen, hands on the counter, breathing slow. The world outside didn't change from my struggle, and I had to decide if I'd go. Emails, traffic, faces, small talk, 1,000 places to disappear. I wore my name like a borrowed jacket, hoping nobody saw the fear. I didn't have a plan, just a moment to get through. Somehow I made it through that day, even when everything stood in the way. Jesus, I don't know how, but I'm still standing now. Somehow I crossed each hour, held together by a borrowed power. No headline miracle to display, just grace that got me through that day. Oh, yeah. There were seconds I almost folded, moments I almost left the room. A sentence caught in my throat at noon, a wave that threatened to consume. But something steadied my shaking hands, not loud, not obvious, not grand, just enough to keep me present, just enough to help me stand. I took a breath I didn't earn, oh, found a calm I didn't make, and I realized survival sometimes is the bravest step you take. Not everything has to be solved, some things just have to be lived through. Somehow I made it through that day. faith in motion. No quiet night, just me and the weight of choosing you. Some nights the house goes still too early, like even the walls have nothing to say. The glow of the screen paints everything blue, and my thoughts get louder in that kind of way. I used to call it peace, this quiet. Now it feels like something to push through. Every promise I've ever held on to stands in line, asking me what I'll do. Do I keep believing what I can't feel? Do I keep calling a name into it? Do I keep turning the lock of a door when I'm not sure you're there? There's a cost to this kind of staying. It asks for more than ease. Some nights faith feels like work, like lifting light. When everything hurts, like saying Lord. When it feels unheard and still choosing you word by word. Some nights faith is a choice, not a fire, not a rush, not a voice, just a steady, stubborn return to a truth I refuse to unlearn. I envy the songs that feel effortless, the hands that rise without a second thought. I study their certainty from a distance, wondering what it is I've lost. But maybe it isn't lost, just quiet, like embers under ash and doubt. Maybe it waits for breath, not spectacle, for a whispered name to call it out. So I say Jesus into a room that doesn't answer back right away, and I let the syllables settle my pulse. One small yes in a harder day. If love is a choice, then this is mine. Some nights faith feels like work, like carrying home through a hidden hurt, like trusting you past what I learned and still choosing you quiet, unseen choice to keep your name inside my voice. No choir tonight, but you heard me. I thought you would end it in a moment, but you chose to walk me through it. I waited for the kind of morning that erases what the night has done, where grief folds up like a closed umbrella and the past lets go all at once. But the sun came up like it always does, no announcement, no clean divide. The same ache sat beside me at breakfast, quiet, patient, refusing to hide. I learned the map of my own endurance, which corners held, which edges frayed. And you didn't sweep the road before me, you stayed. Not above it, not beyond it, right inside the weight I carried. You didn't fix it overnight, but you stayed. Through every tear, every question I prayed, you walked the miles I couldn't erase and taught my heart the rhythm of grace. You didn't end it with one bright day, you met me slow in the in-between ways. No sudden cure, no perfect scene, just you, steady in everything. There were days I made no progress, days I circled back again. Same thoughts, same rooms, same memories, knocking louder than they'd been. I wanted answers that could settle it, a sentence strong enough to close the door. But you gave me smaller mercies, the kind I had to notice more. A breath that didn't catch in my chest, a night that didn't stretch as far, a moment I forgot to be afraid, like healing, learning who we are. You weren't late, you were delivering. You didn't fix it overnight, but you stayed. Through the long work of what pain makes, you held the pieces I couldn't place and built a strength I couldn't fake. You I didn't stop believing, I just stopped feeling anything when I prayed. It wasn't a moment, it was gradual, like light fading from a room you're still standing in. I kept saying the same words out loud, but they didn't land the way they used to. I still showed up, still bowed my head, still sang the lines I knew by heart. But somewhere between the melody and the silence, I couldn't tell where you were anymore. And that scared me more than doubt ever did, because I wasn't angry, just empty. I didn't lose faith, I just didn't feel you anymore. Like knocking on a door that never opens like before. I kept calling your name through a quiet I couldn't ignore. I didn't lose faith, I just didn't feel you anymore. Oh, Jesus, I stayed when I couldn't sense your presence, held on the truth when I lost the evidence. If faith is more than feeling, then I'm still yours, even when I don't feel you anymore. People said he's still there, like it was something simple to accept. But they didn't sit in the stillness with me, didn't wrestle the silence I kept. I stopped asking for miracles, started asking just to not fall apart. Because when you feel distant, even hope starts whispering down into your heart. But something in me refused to walk away, even when I had no reason to stay. I didn't lose faith, I just didn't feel you anymore. Didn't lose faith, I just didn't feel you anymore. No, maybe you were there in a quieter way, not in the feeling, but in the staying. Maybe faith was never meant to be loud. Maybe it's the whisper that doesn't burn. Didn't lose faith, I just couldn't feel you yet. But something deeper held me when my heart was spent. I stayed, and maybe that was you and me all along. I almost let go, not loudly, not all at once, just quietly inside. I almost let go on an ordinary day, when nobody knew I was slipping away. The sky was clear, the phone still rang, but but inside my chest, nothing's sane. I had carried one more day for too long, kept trying to prove I was still strong, but strength can crack without making a sound, and I was so close to laying it down. Then something holy interrupted the goodbye I almost made. I almost let go, but something held me back. A quiet kind of mercy in the middle of the light. I couldn't name it then, but now I finally see it was the hand of Jesus reaching out for me. I almost let go, but grace would not release. It held me in the trembling. It covered me with peace. When I had no reason left to stand, the Lord was holding my hand. It wasn't a voice that shook the room. It wasn't lightning breaking through. It was one small breath I didn't plan, one more heartbeat in the Father's hand. A message from someone at the perfect time, a worship song playing on the drive, a memory of love I had nearly forgot. Little sign saying, "Child, you are not lost." I thought I was barely surviving, but heaven was fighting for me. I almost let go, but something held me back. A quiet kind of mercy in the middle of the light. I couldn't name it then, but now I finally see it was the hand of Jesus reaching out for me. I almost let go, but grace would not release. It held me in the trembling. It covered me with peace. When I had no reason left to stand, the Lord was holding my hand. If you are close to the edge tonight, please hear me through this song. The pain is real, the night is deep, but you don't have to face it alone. There is still breath in your body. There is still purpose ahead. There is still a God who can meet you in the words you never said. Hold on, breathe again. Let grace begin where strength ends. I almost let go, but mercy held me near, and love became the reason I am still here. Now every breath I take becomes my testimony. Jesus never gave up on me. I almost let go, but heaven pulled me through. And what He did for me, He can still do for you. When you have no reason left to stand, let the Lord hold your hand. I almost let go. Oh, but grace held tighter. I don't have anything beautiful to say tonight. Just please, stay. I don't have a polished prayer, no brave confession in the air. I don't have a song that rises clean. I only have what's left of me. The house is still, the clock moves slow, and I'm too tired to let tears show. I've said I trust you many times, but tonight it comes out barely alive. If all I can do is breathe, let that be prayer enough for me. God, I don't have the words tonight. Just stay, sit with me here until the dark gives way. I don't need answers rushing in. I need your presence where I've been. If all I have is this broken heart, stay with me here, right where you are. I used to pray with lifted hands. Now I just whisper where I stand. I used to feel the fire burn. Now I'm waiting for warmth to return. But maybe faith is not always flame. Maybe it's calling out your name when nothing in me feels inspired, when hope is low and the soul is tired. So I won't trust this pain in gold. I'll bring you what I actually hold. God, I don't have the words tonight. Just stay, sit with me here until the dark gives way. I don't need answers rushing in. I need your presence where I've been. Jesus, I don't have the strength to pray, but don't let silence push me away. If all I have is this broken heart, stay with me here, right where you are. Oh, stay when I can't explain it. Stay when I don't feel strong. Stay when my faith is quiet. Stay through the unfinished song. Stay in the room with my questions. Stay in the ache I can't name. Stay till the morning reminds me your love has not changed. God, I don't have the words tonight, but stay, hold me together in your gentle way. No thunder, no sign, no sudden start, just peace coming slowly to my heart. Jesus, I don't have much to bring, but here in the dark I still believe. When words fall apart, you understand. You stay, and you hold my hand. No perfect prayer, No perfect faith, just you. And somehow that is enough. Learn how to smile so nobody would ask too much. I was smiling in pictures, smiling in church, smiling while the inside hurt. I knew how to answer, knew what to say, knew how to make concern walk away. But the mirror knew the truth that night. The tired eyes, the quiet fight. The pillow held what I couldn't confess. 1,000 prayers in a room of stress. I didn't need applause, I needed somewhere safe to fall. I was smiling, but falling apart inside, holding back rivers behind my eyes. But Jesus, you saw what I buried deep, the wounds I carried, the nights without sleep. I was smiling, but breaking underneath. Still you came close with healing peace. You love the truth I tried to hide when I was falling apart inside. Oh. Hey. People saw strength, but you saw strain. They heard my voice, but you heard pain. They saw me standing, dressed and composed, but you saw the places nobody knows. I thought I had to keep control, like brokenness could shame my soul. But you were never scared of tears. You stepped inside my hidden years. You didn't ask me to perform. You held me through the storm. I was smiling, but falling apart inside, holding back rivers behind my eyes. But Jesus, you saw what I buried deep, the wounds I carried, the nights without sleep. I was smiling, but breaking underneath. Still you came close with healing peace. You love the truth I tried to hide when I was falling apart inside. Take the smile I used as armor. Take the fear of being known. Take the weight of pretending I can heal myself alone. Let me be honest in your presence. Let me be small inside your grace. Let every part I kept in hiding finally find a resting place. I was smiling, but you saw the storm inside, and you never turned away from my life. Now I can weep and still believe, because your mercy covers me. You brought truth to life, turned my secret pain into a prayer at night. You met the heart I tried to hide when I was falling apart inside. I don't have to pretend with you. You already know, and you still love me. this found you tonight. Maybe it wasn't by accident. Maybe heaven knew you needed a song to sit beside you. You've been carrying more than people notice, answering I'm fine like it cost you nothing. You laugh at the right time, show up on time, but your heart gets tired when the room goes quiet. There are things you don't say because they sound too heavy, names you don't mention because they still hurt. You keep folding your pain into ordinary days, hoping nobody sees how much it weighs. But God sees the breath you take when nobody knows you're trying. If you hear this, you are not alone, not in the dark, not on your own. Jesus is near in the ache you hide, closer than the tears you fight. If you hear this, hold on tonight. There's still mercy, there is still light. You may feel unseen, but heaven knows you are not alone. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe your prayers have become very small. Just help me whisper against the wall. Maybe faith feels less like fire, more like getting through one more hour. But there's holy strength in staying here and letting one more morning appear. You don't have to explain your breaking. The Lord understands the language of shaking. And even when your voice is thin, He hears the heart beneath it. If you hear this, you are not alone, not in the dark, not on your own. Jesus is near in the ache you hide, closer than the tears you fight. If you hear this, hold on tonight. There is still mercy, there is still light. You may feel unseen, but heaven knows you are not alone. Yeah. Oh, you are not forgotten in the room where you cry. You are not abandoned when answers pass by. You are not too broken, too tired, too late. Grace still knows how to find your place. Let the silence breathe. Let your hands release. Let the Savior meet you where you have no strength to speak. If you hear this, you are not alone. The Father has not left His own. Jesus is here where the night feels long, turning your wheels